You're thinking about traveling with your kids in the year 2025, then this video is for you. I'm going to share with you my top 10 family travel budget tips that you need to know. So while I roll through these, I'm going to glance down so that I do not forget any of them, but most of these are what we live by, we travel by, tried, true, tested. And I think that all of these will be useful in one way or another for you and your family, especially with kids in tow. And if you didn't know, we just got back from visiting Romania for a week. So check out that video. I will link it up there. And if you are interested in homeschool or traveling or any of those things, please like and subscribe to our channel so that you get notified as a new video will drop every week. So the first one is almost a big staple in our household, which is water during meals. We all know that apart from accommodations and the flights or the method of travel, your meals and your food are going to be one of your biggest expenses. So the rule of thumb we have is water every meal, and one meal, either breakfast or dinner, they get to have a juice. We don't do juices or different drinks at every single meal because it adds up. I mean, it's easily a $15 extra per meal, which is like $45 at the end of the day. And then you times that for a week, it's ridiculous. It's astronomical. So we do water for all of our kids' meals, and then either breakfast or dinner, they get to decide if they would like to have a juice. One meal a day. The rest of them, water. Sometimes if we're cold, we need to go in and warm up. We'll have a hot chocolate, but that's a little bit of a different situation. But most of the time, it is water during meals, except for your one meal a day that everybody has to agree on. Tip number 2 is also don't eat out for every meal. If you're going to be staying in, obviously if you're staying in a hotel, that's not an option. But if you are in an apartment through Vrbo or Airbnb, you're going to have a kitchen. And so buying foods locally at your grocery store are going to cost cheaper, especially if you're in Europe. And cooking them at home is going to save you money. We did that for a few breakfasts while we were in Romania, and it was great. They eat sourdough a lot, so we did sourdough with some scrambled eggs on top, and the kids had some fruit. So cooking in your apartment, if you have that rented, will save you and your family money instead of eating out and then the tipping, and then you order appetizers. Sometimes it leads to desserts, so it does add up. So definitely utilizing a kitchen, if that is in your rental, will definitely help you stay on budget when you're traveling with your family and kids. And the third tip is don't eat at the tourist traps. Eat where the locals eat. Now, most of the time, if you're staying in the main area, you're going to be surrounded by these local tourist traps. You can tell them apart because their menus are going to be more expensive. They will have lots of pictures in their menus because they know that not everybody speaks the language. So they use the pictures to help out to see what everybody should choose to eat. And also, there's going to be people standing out in front of the restaurant trying to say, oh, come in, eat here. If there's people that are out there trying to get you to come into their restaurant, that is the restaurant you should absolutely not go in. It's not going to be as authentic. It is going to be extra pricey, and it's probably not going to be budget friendly. So avoid those. Walk a little extra, go down the side streets, go 10, maybe 20 minutes out of your way and find a cheaper spot to eat where the locals eat. It's going to be more authentic. And I think all in all, you're going to have a better experience and you're going to save money. So it's really a win-win. Our next tip is plan ahead. Plan your travel ahead. Map it out. It will help make sure that you stay on budget. And it will also help cover expenses that you maybe don't know that are going to come up if it's planned out ahead. If you just kind of wing it and you don't have a plan, you're probably going to end up spending more money because of little things here and there that maybe you didn't think about or you didn't know about. So planning ahead will not only save you money, but will also it'll be a smoother, less stress-free experience, especially if you're going to do certain activities. Usually sometimes buying them in advance can save you like $5 or so instead of getting them there in person. Sometimes they charge you actually like a few dollars more if you get them there, and sometimes, you know, you have a lot of free time, you end up walking around and you're bored and you end up shopping, spending more money. You end up going into all these other places and spending more money. So planning ahead also eliminates the boredom maybe of you don't know what to do, and so you just start spending money because you're bored. So planning ahead will help you eliminate the frivolous spending that is somewhat inevitable while you are on vacation. Another tip is to travel in the off season. Don't just stick to traveling in summertime. Easier said than done, especially if you have kids in public school or a private school. But the Easter week break, spring break, is going to be crazy busy. And then pretty much June, July, and August are going to be busy as well. So if you can travel between, I would say not November in December, because you just got to work around the Christmas travel and the Thanksgiving travel. But as long as you do that, that's really more for airplane tickets. Those are going to cost more. But if you can travel between January and March, April to May, the tickets kind of start creeping up. But if you're watching closely, you can still kind of swoop in, especially if you have travel points. But January to March, sweet spot. It's the off season. And then I would say prices start dropping back down in September because kids start hitting school. So end of September until the beginning of November. And then there you have a few week gap in December is definitely off season. So if you're traveling when everybody else is, it's going to cost more because they know everybody's coming and they can afford to kind of price gouge those things up because people are coming anyways. So avoid that. Don't travel in the high seasons. Don't do in the peak seasons. It's just going to cost you money. And also, when these are tips for traveling with kids in your family, sometimes traveling with kids is really stressful when you're in a very crowded place during peak season. So not only does it save you money, it saves your sanity as well. Sometimes to travel in the off season if you can swing it. Let's see, the next one is be flexible with your destinations. You're going to go to Rome, Italy, or you're going to go to New York City, or you're going to go to the Yellowstone National Park in peak season. If you're going to the main attractions, you will spend more money. Not just ticketed entries, but accommodations nearby. You're going to spend more money on car rentals or plane tickets. Be flexible with your destinations and go places that are off the beaten path. Go to a tropical island in the wintertime. Go to Florida, when not everybody's going. And go to places that maybe, like Malaysia. Go to Eastern Europe. Go places that are not the typical destinations that everybody's going to. You hear about, there's London, Paris, Budapest, New York City, there's Colorado, there's Richmond, Virginia. Some of those main cities are not off your beaten path. Those are going to cost more. They're just expensive cities. So go to lesser known cities and then maybe make a day trip into the bigger cities. So being flexible with your cities and your destinations will save you a ton of money. And it's also guaranteed that you might have a even better experience doing local day trips out to places. So you won't miss things. You'll just have a different tailored experience. While you're there, another tip is research free activities. Local parks. They're a big one. Sometimes if you're traveling to somewhere where it's like a city destination, you are walking a lot, but sometimes your kids just need to run and blow off some steam. And I need my kids to I love my kids so much, but I need my kids just to away for a minute or two. And so going to the park, keeping a close eye on them, watching them, safety first, but going to a park, letting them run and blow off some energy is an awesome way to do this. If you're free activities, a lot of the times, obviously, they're parks. Sometimes some of the free activities that we try to do, certain cities have museums that if you're a certain age or you're a student, on certain days of the week, you can do those things. Other than that, most cities have something that's for free. You just got to do a little research and a little digging. So this one kind of goes with the planning ahead. These free activities, if you don't have a lot of time, research them and just have them in your back pocket so you can say, oh, wait, hey, let's stop here because it's close by and the kids can go and do this for a few minutes and it's free. Is a good idea to have some free activities in your back pocket that you've already planned ahead for, that you can use when you need them and mom and dad just need a break. There was some restaurants that the parents can sit outside. Like in Germany, they have the beer gardens. You can sit outside in the garden, drink your water, your coffee, or your beer, whatever is your choice, and the kids can kind of run around, not in there, but just right next to you. There's tons of things. You just got to research them and find them, and it's in every state, every city, and every country. There are going to be free things to do if you dig and dive in and do your research and plan ahead. Another one is utilize public transportation while you're there. The most expensive way to get around while you are traveling with your family is by a private driver and taxis. Those are the two most expensive methods of transportation while you're traveling, especially if you have a larger family like us and we can't just get one taxi. You either have to split up and get two taxis or hire a bus like a minivan, and it just gets pricey. So utilize public transportation, and a lot of countries do it very well, and they're very reliable, and they're usually very safe as long as you know where your children are and your purse or your wallet kind of just stays in your front and you can see it, and keep your kind of maybe your arms over it depending on what city you're in, and where you're traveling to. But public transportation, and that is including trams, metros, buses, trains, and walking. I know us Americans aren't into walking destinations a lot, or just our country wasn't really built to have that readily accessible because we have such a large country. There's just no way to walk to everything, but walking is great, and it does help the little legs get a little tired. So research, do your public, and usually public transportation, it's quite inexpensive. Not just like cheaper, but a tram ticket, a metro ticket is usually extremely inexpensive compared to hiring a car for 50 or 100 euros or dollars. Like massive difference. All right. Heading towards the end, we have travel light. The more that you pack, maybe you're going to need to rent a bigger car to hold the suitcases or your luggage, or you're going to have to check that baggage, and it's going to come at a price, and it's not a cheap price. So travel light. Either you wear an outfit for 2 days, and that helps cut down on maybe half your outfits. Or you can do that and then wash them so that you have a clean set every day. If you're staying in an accommodation where you have a washer dryer, but we personally, if we're booking through Vrbo or Airbnb and it's an apartment, we do not book one unless they have an apartment. That's sort of a non-negotiable because you never know with kids and family trips who's going to have accidents, where their food stains are going to be, stinky, smelly socks from feet walking all day. You just never know. So make sure you have a washing machine and travel light. And so you can either wash and go and you still have half your outfits, or you just prefer to wear an outfit that's clean and wash it every day. But traveling light is going to save you so much more money, especially when maybe mom's wrangling all the kids trying to walk into the apartment or from the train station or from the rented car to the hotel or the airplane, and dad is juggling tons of luggage. Maybe your little ones aren't able to fully help with luggage. We're in an in-between stage. It's difficult for dad to carry all of those luggages by himself if mom has to do the kids and the kids aren't fully able to help. So eliminating some of those luggages is going to help also dad have a better time and it not be a moment of, why did we pack all this? So, those moments that you have when you thought you packed great and you've realized you've really, really overpacked, and now you don't want to say it out loud, but your husband is like, why do we have all this? I'm pulling all of this and we're barely using any of it. And you're like, yeah, I messed up on that one. So traveling light is always going to be in your best interest. And if you've forgotten something because you traveled so light, odds are the pharmacy, the supermarket, the grocery store right down the road is going to have it and you're going to be okay. So you can just make a quick little stop. Another way to save money is to book overnight trains and buses if you're traveling. That's a 2 for 2 because it saves you accommodations. And it saves you transportation costs because it's a 2-in-1. And you're traveling overnight, so you're sleeping. There's lots of affordable options, especially I know in other countries that offer this. Some places in Asia, definitely in Europe. And I'm pretty sure there's some in the United States, some of the major railways that do that. I know it's not as the options aren't as big, but booking overnight trains and buses will kind of help save on some of your costs in traveling, and there's beds and kids can also somewhat sleep. So just thinking of those things, maybe sort of an outside the box thought to help save on some of that money for traveling. While I know doing this with kids can be somewhat of a challenge, whether they need sound machines or blackout curtains, and it might not work for you, but being flexible on how much you want to save as you're traveling to be able to possibly travel more is maybe worth the visit, or at least the attempt, the effort to try to find out if it's right for you and your family. And the last one is one that we have personally struggled with, which is buying your airline tickets that already have a seat selection and your baggage included, especially if you're booking through your credit card rewards. They have many options that you can go in later to the airline that you're traveling with and go do your seat selection for an added cost. And then you can do your, you can pay for your luggage while you're checking in the day before your flight. And usually it's a $75 to $100 per baggage fee. And your seat selection can be anywhere from usually $15 to like $100 more a seat, anywhere. Usually the sweet ballpark, I would say, is about $20 to $60 per seat. Now, if you have multiple kids, 2 to 4 kids, and there's 2 parents, those add up. And usually if you buy the ticket with it already included, it's about $100, but that basically means you've gotten your seat selection for free, or at least if your baggage is 75 and your seat selection's, 20, 25, you've hit that 100 and it's equaled out. But if your baggage fee for your airlines is $100 and your seat selection for that flight, depending on when you've waited to book it, is $25 to $60, depending on your preferences, it actually costs you way more to buy them separately than if you were to book it all together. So, and it's a little bit more of a hassle doing it separately. It's just like another step you have to do than if you're just doing it all at one time. So, again, another great family travel tip is to buy your airline tickets with your baggage and your seat selection. And travel in your off seasons. Travel in the off seasons, huge one for that. It's just less crowded, and only maybe do juices or sodas or whatever it might be at one of your meals, and drink water for the rest of them, and have that sort of as your staple to save money. There are plenty of ways to save money, whether it's a budget or a luxury travel experience that you're searching for. There are plenty ways. Look for those free activities. If you want to spend more money on a luxury hotel, then find a lot of free things to do in the city and walk to them. That's a great way to kind of balance it out. So I hope these tips were helpful, and I know that we personally use these on all of our travels, so I am happy to share them with you, and look forward to sharing more. Bye.